Paul McGuire Grimes, KSTP, Minneapolis. Jerry, Michelle, it was really great talking to both of you today. Season two is not messing around. High stakes, high action. It's been a great ride so far, so thank you.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah. Now, Jerry, I want to start with you. What's been the most rewarding part of playing Seven of Nine again? And do you kind of see her differently than back in the Voyager days?
No, she's completely different than she was back in the Voyager days. And I think that's the most fun is being, it's a very, very rare gift as an actor to get to take a character on this kind of a journey. She started out not even human. So she had to completely learn how to be human, and watching this progression and everything that she's been through and the way that she's grown. I love it. It's been a real joy.
That's amazing. I kind of love this era where we're kind of getting these reboots, these kind of revivals to see characters grow and change, and actors that have had different lives and careers since then to like see where they take their characters. It's been a really treat. Now, Michelle, what has been the most rewarding part for you of kind of joining the Star Trek family?
What has not been a joy for me for joining this Star Trek family? One, working with this lady right here has been like a privilege that I can't even. I'm so lucky. We work so well together. She's such a generous creature. I feel like it's my birthday every single day. What I love about Rafi is everything about Rafi. I love her imperfection. I love her, her pain, her empathy, her love, her outspokenness, her kind of ruggedness, her vulnerability. And like what you were saying, it is really interesting to experience, Jerry and Patrick having gone through a journey, and then their characters have grown and evolved, and to be have witnessed that as a fan and an audience member, and then to be on stage with that and living with it is it's just a gift. It's a gift.
Oh. I love that. That's so great to hear. Yay. Now, what do you think, Jerry? Like, how has the fan reaction been like for Picard? And do you think there's a difference between Voyager fans and Picard fans?
I think every new iteration of Star Trek has its new group of fans. It has some core fans that come. There's fans of each show that don't like anything to be different, but the next show, and that's historically with every single series that we've ever had. That's how it works.
Right.
But yeah, I've had an incredible outpouring of love from the fans, which has been so nice. And this is a very different show than Star Trek traditionally has been, because Star Trek was always a network, primetime show, which is a very formulaic way of making television. And you have to wrap every story up at the end of the episode. You might have a two-parter, but you have to wrap it up because they have to be standalone episodes so they can go into syndication, which is how they make money. For us, we have the luxury of telling a 10-episode arc of the story. So every character's arc is 10 episodes long.
Right. And
so it's a very different style of storytelling that I think caught some people off guard and takes a little while to get used to. But once you realize that's what's happening, it's not one episode and that's where the character is and where the story is and it's the entire season's arc. And it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. I think that's what's so great about streaming services and limited series, or even taking the time to tell these stories is great. I got the wrap. I wish I could keep talking to both of you. Congrats on the audio drama as well, No Man's Land. I'm excited to listen to that once that drops too. So thank you so much for the time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Paul.
Thank you. Paul McGuire Grimes, KSTP, Minneapolis. John, is really great talking to you today. Season 2 has been a wild ride so far, so thank you so much.
Oh, good. I'm glad. You're ahead of me. I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's high stakes, high action. It's been great so far. Yeah.
Good.
Now, what's been the most rewarding part for you playing Q again? And do you see him any differently this time around?
Well, I see him differently because the material is different. I was a little concerned that if they wanted the mariachi band and the all of the antics and what have you, I was a little concerned because as any creative artist, you have to be very careful about recreating, and because it's often not successful. So when I went in to speak with them, when they asked me to come in to speak with them, and they said to me, essentially, this is a darker, wiser, more mature, also with an agenda of his own I went, oh, great. So no tights, right? No tights. And then they said, as a matter of fact, we want you with the beard. We want the hair, we might even make it a little dark, a little whiter. We want it different. The tone is different. And so it was for me to find the intentionality of that, and to deliver a different cue. It makes me a little concerned because, audiences have expectations, and sometimes, where is that kind of Mercutio character that we have seen so many times? But as I said, different writers, different script, different time.
Love the Shakespeare reference and love this idea of recreation. I loved hearing how you phrase that very idea. Speaking of fans that are very vocal, as Star Trekkies are, what has the fan reaction been like over the last couple of decades? And how often do you get asked, are you coming back? When can we expect to see you again?
I can't tell you how many times that's been asked of me. And I finally created like an idea that, so the general public, the civilians could understand. I would say, hey, listen, guys, it's not my dinner party. Okay. So I cannot spend my life worrying about or hoping that I'm going to be invited to somebody else's dinner party.
Right.
If it comes around, it'll come around. And if it doesn't, it doesn't.
I love that. I love all of your little phrases and like comparisons. That's great. How would you define the legacy of Gene Roddenberry and what he stood for?
Extraordinary. I know. I mean, Gene said to me, and you, since you're a Star Trek fan, you know this, a couple of days into shooting, they liked what I was doing. I was standing there and somebody, a voice said, you have no idea what you've gotten yourself into. And I turned around and it was Gene. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, oh, you will see. But I would say that Gene had no idea what he was getting himself into. Mm-hmm. Wagon Train to the Stars. Yes, I understand, and selling it and doing all of that. And also it being a failed show, excuse me. Star Trek was a failed show. Back then when they were having 17 seasons of them, to have 3 seasons just limping along is a failed show. But then something happened. And Leonard Nimoy and I had a company together, and I would ask him a lot of questions about just that time, just that period in there when the show ended and you're going back to driving taxis, and then something took place. I want to hear about that part.
I got the wrap. Oh my God. John, I wish I could keep talking to you. I got the wrap. Thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it. Thank you. This has been great.
Great.
Paul, McGuire, Grimes, KSTP, Minneapolis, Issa, Evan, Santiago. It is really great talking to all three of you today. I've really enjoyed season 2. It is such a wild ride, high stakes, high action. It's been great so far. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, Evan, I want to start with you. What has been the most rewarding part of joining the Star Trek legacy in the family?
Living out a childhood fantasy, I'd say. I grew up loving it, and it's just kind of like surreal being on the other side of things, and kind of having people like watch the show and enjoy the experience and enjoy your character as much as you enjoy, playing that role. It's like a very, very surreal experience.
Yeah. Issa, what about you? What's been the most rewarding part for you?
Yeah, I really think, it's very similar, getting to meet a lot of the fans when we do conventions and premieres and stuff. We get to connect with these people who connect with our characters so much, and it's a very rewarding part of it, because when you're filming, you're thinking about like, I just want to do a good job and I just want to get this done right. And then when you see the people who actually it means so much to, it's like, right, this is why we do it. And no matter what, like, I'm at least touching one person in a very profound way, because this is such an amazing legacy that for a lot of people has been so formative since they were kids. And now we get to be a part of that and kind of add to that legacy. And it's really, really special.
I love it. That's beautiful. Now, Santiago, like we've been talking about, Star Trek has been around literally for decades in movies and TV series and books. What do you think it is about Gene Roddenberry's universe that still continues to entertain and intrigue us all these years later?
Yeah, that's something that really captured me when I was kind of exploring the idea of joining the sci-fi realm and Star Trek, because I love the philosophy behind it. That ultimately it really is about what it means to be a human being and who we are as humans, and it poses all these great questions, under the sort of the disguise of science fiction, but it's just a great opportunity to really shine a mirror into our own reality, and it goes deep into to human beings, who we are and why we make the choices we make and how we can strive to be better. It really is about striving for a better world. And I think that's a very positive message and very uplifting. So yeah, I love that part of it.
And we definitely need that right now. I mean, I've been watching season 1 and 2. It's like I can see so many connections to what's happening right now. So describe the vibe on set when you have someone like Guinan and Q and like these legacy characters that are just coming back for more.
I think that was like nerve-wracking. I mean, already I had a taste of it in season 1 when obviously when Riker and Troy come back. That was already like a crash course. I'm like, whoa, I didn't realize I was such a big fan until right now. And so this time around, it goes even deeper. It feels like it's an even better payoff for the fans who love this so much and who have been just dying to get these characters that they love so much back. It's just really cool that we get to then kind of join them and be a part of that legacy, because there's only so much that you can imagine when you're like, okay, we've got a new show going on, and as much as it's taking off from like where Next Generation left us, in a way it's still very new, but now we get to integrate both of those worlds and kind of especially see how the old casts like interact together, and kind of seeing like the similarities and thinking like, wow, that's going to be us one day. Like we're going to see each other at parties or at conventions years down the line and reminisce about our time together. And that's just really, really exciting to think about.
Absolutely. I love that. I got the wrap. It's been great talking to all three of you. Congrats on the success of the show overall. It's really great to see. So thank you.
Thank you.
Paul McGuire Grimes, KSTP, Minneapolis. And Kiva, it's really great talking to you today. I'm really enjoying season 2 so far. I mean, it is not messed around. High action, high stakes. It's been a great fun. So thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Now I'm curious, how do you as a showrunner and writer kind of balance bringing back fan favorite characters like Guinan and Q for storytelling purposes versus just the kind of nostalgia and wanting to appease fans?
Well, hopefully, as you've seen in season 3 and as you've seen in season 2 and as we did in season 1, we try to have the story invite them back. So for season 2, we're looking backwards. We're looking historically backwards and interpersonally into Picard's mind and heart. We're looking in and therefore backwards to his childhood. As such, the two greatest guides would be Q and Guinan. They would seem to be necessary for a deep internal journey with Star Trek grammar.
Right. No, I love that. That's great. Because I think fans are always asking that, like when we see these types of shows, like, ooh, when can we expect this sort of character to come back? And that doesn't really make sense. And I think it does. It works here as well. Now, how far back does your love of Star Trek go? And what memories do you have of seeing the movies or the TV series growing up?
My first Star Trek convention was 1975. I was in New York. My mother let me and three friends get a hotel room. I mean, this is New York in the 70s, different time. And I still have the program. So for me, it was not quite first run. It was in syndication, WPIX Channel 11 in New York every night at 7 p.m. And I lived for it. Yeah.
I love those memories that we have of certain shows that have left that stamp on us. And you remember like the call letters. It's great.
Yes,
How would you define the legacy of Gene Roddenberry and what he stood for?
I think Gene Roddenberry stood for an inclusive future. I think he stood for optimism. I think it's aspirational science fiction. Can we all be in it together? Boy, is that a word to the wise today. Certainly something that we need as much now, if not more, than when the first show aired.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm seeing these topical themes in these both seasons of like, oh, that really applies to today. What's been the most rewarding thing for you about joining the Star Trek family?
I was a kid who played Star Trek, right? I made believe that I was in Star Trek, and now I make Star Trek. And that's extraordinary for the 12-year-old in me.
Right.
He is really happy to get to do it.
I feel that way about talking to people that I've looked up to. Like, I remember seeing The Client and A Time to Kill as a kid, and like remembering your name on like Batman Forever, and like as a screenwriter, these movies that were like kind of pivotal to my childhood. Now, William Shatner recently went up into space. If given the opportunity, would you go up into space?
No, I would not go up. There's so many more mundane ways to die.
That's hysterical. Agiva, it has been great talking to you. Thank you for the time, and I hope people enjoy season 2 of Picard.
Thank you so much. It's nice.
Thank you.